President Biden has played down fears of a new Cold War with China after holding his first talks since he was elected with Xi Jinping. After more than 3 hours of discussions, the White House said Mr. Biden had told President Xi that the US would continue to compete vigorously with China, but this shouldn't veer into conflict. The two leaders also discussed the status of Taiwan, as our Asia-Pacific editor Celia Hatton reports.
Just over 3 months ago, the mood between Beijing and Washington plummeted to a new low when the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi riled Beijing by visiting the self-ruled island of Taiwan. But now there's some cautious optimism following talks aimed at avoiding conflict. Joe Biden told reporters he did not believe China was planning an imminent invasion of Taiwan, though Mr. Xi underlined again that China would never accept the island's independence.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Ukraine is moving step by step towards liberating all occupied territories. He was speaking on a surprise visit to Kherson only days after Russian troops withdrew from the city. Mr. Zelensky also spoke of the high cost of the war, saying Russia had been forced to retreat by intense fighting in the surrounding region. NATO has cautioned against underestimating Russia, saying the coming months would be difficult for Ukraine. An international charity says the devastating drought in Somalia has led to the biggest movement of refugees into Kenya in more than a decade. Save the Children said hundreds of people a day were arriving in the Dadaab complex in eastern Kenya to escape hunger in Somalia. Here's Mary Harper.
Save the Children says mothers are walking hundreds of kilometres with their children to reach Dadaab. When they get there, they find camps that already have 3 times the number of people they were designed for. Somalia is enduring its worst drought in 40 years. It's also facing an upsurge in violence. Nomads are losing all their livestock. Many are giving up this way of life as they can't afford to replace their herds.
Human rights groups say that another Saudi citizen has received a lengthy prison sentence over social media comments critical of government policy. Other Saudis have recently been jailed for tweeting. Sebastian Usher reports.
Last year, Abdullah Jalan was arrested while visiting his mother's house in Medina. The young man had graduated from a university in the US. On Twitter, he'd complained of the difficulty in finding jobs in Saudi Arabia, as well as other issues. He used an anonymous account, but that did not protect him. A Geneva-based human rights group says the Specialized Criminal Court, which deals with cases of suspected terrorism, has sentenced him to 10 years in jail, followed by a 10-year travel ban.
Kurdish groups in Turkey and Syria have denied being behind Sunday's bomb attack that killed 6 people on a busy shopping street in Istanbul. The Turkish authorities say Kurdish militants were to blame. Police have arrested nearly 50 people, including a woman suspected of planting a bomb. They say she is a Syrian national. The Prime Minister of Pakistan has appointed a committee to investigate whether an Oscar-nominated Pakistani film is against the country's social and moral values. The movie, Joyland, depicts a relationship between a married man and a transgender person. Officials have said there have been complaints that it contains highly objectionable material. It had been cleared for release in Pakistani cinemas this week. Researchers in Israel have found what they say is the earliest evidence of fire being used to cook, considered a key point in human history. The new study suggests our early human ancestors were cooking well-done fish much earlier than previously thought. Paddy Maguire reports.
Putting a definitive date on when our early ancestors started to cook has been problematic for archaeologists. It's difficult to prove that an ancient fireplace was used to prepare food and not just for warmth. This research suggests our forebears were cooking well-done fish nearly 800,000 years ago. By examining a mass of fish remains at a prehistoric lake site in northern Israel, the latest research found a range of evidence, most convincingly in changes to the enamel of fish teeth. They suggested the fish had been subjected to temperatures of between 200 and 500 degrees Celsius, the right range to cook them well.
The American comedian Jay Leno has said he's okay after being burned in a fire. The 72-year-old was taken to hospital on Sunday after one of his cars burst into flames inside his garage. The former talk show host said he'd suffered serious burns but was now in a stable condition.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.